Welcome everybody to part 2 of the Tales from the Riverbank series. I've been giving a lot of thought to these little stories. They're all absolutely true, so don't get thinking that I'm making them up, because I'm not. So part 2, this is going to be 3 little ditties. They won't take long, it'll be short stories, but I think they're funny. I know my friends and I had a hell of a laugh when they happened, so this is the 3 that you got today. Okay, so the first one is from the camping experience, as you see, to the side of me. I showed you last time. I camp, I cook all my own food and everything else, and when my friends are here, I cook them food as well. Anyway, one particular friend, we'll call him Taffy for the sake of this video. It's not his real name, but we'll call him Taffy. Taffy came and joined us for a fishing trip, and me and my brother-in-law. And the one night I said, we're having draft pork for tea tonight. Who wants draft pork? So they were all keen. So I cooked the draft pork with some nice vegetables and stuff. And we sat down and we were chatting away and telling stories, as you do, fishermen, you know. The one that got away, there was this big. And we were eating our draft pork, and then all of a sudden Taffy gets up out of his chair and walks off. And we all thought, where's he bloody gone? What's he doing? What's he suddenly walked off? Bit weird. Anyway, he disappeared for a while, and then eventually he came back. And he said he broke his tooth off, his front tooth off on the draft pork. He said, do we have any superglue? So we do carry superglue occasionally for gluing things onto leaders and fly lines and stuff. And so he stuck his tooth back in with superglue. Oh dear, that was so funny. Yeah, Taffy's tooth broke off and he glued it in with superglue. Okay, let's calm things down a little bit from that one. We weren't in this place, so this is the Tales from the Riverbank. It's not actually from this riverbank, it's from a riverbank in Devon. My brother-in-law, and I used to go fishing down in Devon quite a lot on the River Torridge, and we used to stay at the Half Moon Inn, which used to be an absolutely incredible, beautiful, lovely fishing inn, but it's not quite the same now. But anyway, that's another story. But anyway, there's a beat that we used to fish for salmon called Beam, and we used to be able to park, if it was dry, the field, we pull down into the field and then get all their stuff out and then go fishing. Well, anyway, we were fishing on the last day of our trip, and we had to pack up at 12 o'clock because some other anglers were taking over from us at 12 o'clock. So we were sat there having a beer. We'd done our fishing, we hadn't caught nothing, as usual. And these hooray Henrys, as I call them, turned up in this Range Rover and pulled into the field. And we thought, oh, yeah, these are the people who are obviously taking over from us. So they opened up the back of this Range Rover and they got hampers and stuff. It was a lovely hot day, it was a beautiful day, not the best for fishing. So we cleared off and left them to it. So we took all their tackle down at the back of the car and we went off. But then we stopped on the bridge to see how things were going, and they'd obviously gone off with their rods and left the back of the Range Rover open. And the cows, there was about 4 or 5 cows got their heads in the back of this Range Rover. They were pulling out all the baskets, all the food. Oh God, it was absolute bloody mayhem. I've never laughed so much in my life. Oh dear, I don't know what they thought when they got back from their fishing trip. I don't know, to see the mess in the field. Oh God. So that was another funny story. But we'll come back to this river now, because this river's been very prominent in my life for, as I've said in the previous videos, for quite a long time. In the early days of fishing this beat, the Langadog beat is where I fish. In the early days, my brother-in-law and I used to stay at the Castle Hotel in Llandudrey, which is about, just a few miles up the road, really. Not in Llandudrey, in Langadog, sorry. Yeah, it's about 2 or 3 miles up the road. Because we hadn't developed camping skills. We hadn't even thought about camping in them days. So we used to stay at the B&B at the Castle Hotel in Langaddock. And there's a lady there and her husband. Her husband was Saddam Hussein. He was actually Saddam Hussein. He looked like Saddam Hussein. He spoke like Saddam Hussein. He was Saddam Hussein. We were blowing the shit out of Iraq and trying to find Saddam Hussein. He was in the Castle Hotel in Langaddock all the time. Weird joke. Anyway, his wife Mary was lovely. But anyway, so this one night we were going to go out fishing, and she said, whatever you do, she said, I'll give you the key. She said, but don't let the cats out of the kitchen. If you catch a fish, make sure if you go in the kitchen to put the fish in the fridge, make sure you shut the doors. And she got about 4 or 5 different cats, and they were all very, very fiery cats. Oh dear. Yeah, so all these cats were very, very fiery of Mary's at the Castle Hotel. So anyway, she said, don't let the cats out of the kitchen, whatever you do when you get back in the early hours of the morning. So we went off fishing, and fun enough, we caught a couple of smallish sea trout, which were nice to eat, you know, for the table. In those days, we did kill the odd fish. I haven't killed a fish for 15 years, but yeah. Anyway, so we caught a couple of fish. So I said to John, I said, look, whenever you do, go in the kitchen. Don't let the cats out, whatever you do, because Mary will go mad. So we crept into the kitchen, and before we knew what had happened, the cats all had shot out through the gap in the door and into the hotel. And we knew we were going to be in trouble. We thought, oh, this is it now, we're in big trouble. So we put the fish in the fridge and went to bed. All night long, these cats were fighting and screeching and yelping on the stairs, everywhere. It was an absolute, we were terrified to get up and have our breakfast in the morning. Anyway, when 8 o'clock in the morning came, we managed to get a little bit of sleep, but these cats fight like hell. Anyway, we got up, went and had our breakfast, and we sat in the breakfast room terrified, as though we were like sort of naughty school children, and wondered what Mary was going to say. Mary came in and brought the breakfast and never said a word. She didn't even bat an eyelid. And we'd been terrified all night. Yeah, so there you go. So that's another little story. Is there another one I can add on to this? Let's have a look. One more story from Tales for the Riverbank. So the next one is going to be, this is me almost drowning. Nasty. No, I didn't drown, but I could have drowned, but I didn't, thank God, because I wouldn't be sat here, would I? Yeah, I was fishing on my own one afternoon down in, there's a pool that we've got on this river called, it's quite aptly named actually, it's called Cruel Pool. It's very deep and slow moving on a sweeping bend. And I was fishing the deep side, as you do, and on my own, sunny afternoon, lovely it was. And we'd had a lot of floods, a big flood a week before. So, you know, everything was a little bit, the water was just a little bit coloured, but it's perfect fishing. I can't remember whether I caught anything that day or not. What I do remember is standing on the bank of this pool and the bank giving way, and I went in. I left my rod behind, fortunately, because I love my rod. I'd have been terrified if I'd lost that or broken it. But I went in and I got chest waders on, and of course my chest waders started filling up with water. I thought, oh great, this is good. And the water was cold as well. And anyway, I couldn't get out. My waders were full of water. There's some tree roots that I could feel, but I couldn't hang on to them. I couldn't. Anyway, eventually I just let myself drift off through the pool until I got to some gravel at the end. And I managed to get out eventually. But the worst part of this story was that I didn't lose my fishing rod. I mean, that was still where it was when I went in. But I lost my expensive sunglasses. I got some very expensive Polaroid sunglasses. I can remember what they were called. They were called cormorant sunglasses. And I never saw them. They disappeared. So anyway, I got back to the, there's a bench where I was fishing from. There's a little bench they used to have years ago. We haven't got anything like that these days. But we had a nice little bench, and so I took all my clothes off, except for my underpants, and hung them up in the bushes. Turned my waders upside down and got bitten to smithereens, I might add, all afternoon. But yeah, it all dried out in the sun and was not too bad for me to go fishing again that night. So there's the final tale from the riverbank for this series, for this part, sorry, part 2. So if you enjoyed any of these stories or you thought it was in any way funny, please subscribe, click the notification button, like, do all the things you have to do, and I'll have another video very soon with some more tales, and these are going to be really, really funny and unusual. Okay, take care, ciao.